Greetings everyone, and today I'm here to discuss in a very similar fashion to what I did in my previous video the changes I would like to see done to Armor King. These are more like me dreaming because I don't expect Namco to implement most of this, especially the core stuff that I have in mind in terms of like reworking throws. Like I said in my previous video, grappler characters are super hurt by the fact that throws are 20 frames to break in this game. This doesn't affect characters like Paul all that much because he can do like Demo Man, doesn't affect Marduk because he has his tackle, doesn't affect Julia because she's a monster, doesn't affect Jin because he has a health lead, but it does affect these two kings here that rely on their throws instead of lows for mix-ups. So in my previous video I suggested that maybe changes to throw break windows should be applied. Maybe make them 18 frames all across the board, and if you're fighting a grappler characters like these two kings, maybe Marduk if you nerf his tackle, maybe like other characters as well, maybe like Dragunov if you nerf his down 2 or whatever, you'd have 16 frames to break, whereas a grappler gets 20 frames to break throws unless he's fighting another grappler. So whatever, it's kind of like this, triangle type of system. And furthermore, I want the two kings to have a three-way mix-up on their throws. I gave King a giant swing double hand throw animation on his Tijuana Twister in exchange for removing his tombstone and making changes to the damage and properties of the moves. And I'm going to give Armor King the same treatment because I'm going to make his tombstone done with forward quarter circle forward 2. And I'm going to make it look like a giant swing with a double hand break. In exchange, I'm going to make other changes for the character. So, let's see what I have in mind. The only move that I would flat out remove is this. This is useless. Keep the 2, because this is not even a natural combo. It's just useless. It has no reason to exist. It should be gone. It's just clogging up the move list needlessly. But sadly, aside from that, I don't have much in terms of nerfs for the character because everybody knows that he sadly sucks. So, some of these changes are going to be kind of like stolen from other YouTubers. Armor King TV did a couple of very interesting, suggestions for the character, some of which I stand by. Thoughts of Himself did also a couple of interesting suggestions, that one of which I actually included in my video here. So 4-2-1, maybe he should have a launching extension like 4-2 down 1. This is from Armor King TV, would give you the same second hit of this and it would be minus 13 just like that one, so Kazuya and similar characters can twin piston it. Forward, definitely change. I made a whole video about this, how the fact that it's only minus 2, and if you're on player 2 and your opponent's on player 1 and he can step up, he can step everything. This, everything that's not a homing move, so you kind of like rely on lows for tracking. This should be fixed. This should be +3, and it should lock them down in a way that and I'm going to buff the tracking of these moves as well, so that it actually is usable. Forward 1+2, I don't think this move should be minus 13. King, I nerfed his Power Crush. I wanted to nerf his Power Crush to make it minus 14. Because it's long range and you can like space it out to make it more safe-ish. I don't want it to be safe at any distance, maybe except only max range. But this should be, I believe, minus 10 on block. Come on, block. This should be minus 10 on block in my opinion. This move, 23 frames is too slow. I would make it 20 or even 19. I would make it minus 5 on block, and I would make it do an instant screw on counter hit. So it would give you, a similar launch to King's forward 1. Back 1+2, this I'm going to take from Thoughts of Himself. This should be a Power Crush. This is a very interesting idea as a Power Crush. Very interesting, because it doesn't do any damage on a normal hit, but on counter hit, you know that it gives you this, and you could potentially get a Dark Upper here if you have the execution of a god. Up 4-3, 21 frames is too harsh. I would make it like 19 or something, because you have this as 17. There's currently almost like no reason to use this outside of like floating demon flip or devil gem up 4. CD4, this is where Armor King got it, nailed it, because this move needs more range. The hitbox should be lower, because you currently can't rely on it. This is why the pros always do while standing 4, because of the superior range. This needs to have a lot more range. Maybe give it King's old CD4 animation from Tekken 5, where he kind of like jumped in the air. Give it a lot more range and give it like more better guaranteed stuff on hit, but not to the extent of making it a full-on launcher. Stomps should be, in my opinion, guaranteed off of everything, all 3 of them. No more of this, you know, most of the time out in the open you only get 1 and your opponent can tech roll. While standing 3, this has no reason to exist on Armor King anymore. Keep it on King because he doesn't need it. But Armor King should have a completely different, radically different while standing 3. I believe he should have a 15 frame homing mid that's safe. I don't want it to launch on counter hit. Well, maybe, no need for it to launch on counter hit. Just be safe on block, give a ballerina stun on hit, similar to this one, and be 15 frames, mid and safe. This would actually stop you from sidestepping him and ducking him while he's wave dashing, because currently the best you can do is can't do this on this pad. Yes, 4-4-3, which is a high. So I believe while standing 3 should be changed to a homing mid. Back turn 4, it's currently -10 with a lot of pushback, but many characters can reach. I believe this should be made to -9. It's super slow. And yeah, why should this be punishable if you already have that? Maybe change it to a high and make it safe, because you already have this for a mid launching mix-up. And finally, to the stuff that really matters, down forward 1 doesn't have enough range. It doesn't have enough range at all. This is why you have to almost like use down forward 4 most of the times for like the superior range, which is much worse on hit and block and all the other stuff. Down forward 1 definitely needs more range, definitely. Down forward 2, I made a whole video about this. This should be safe. It's currently -12. Remove the stupid extension, we don't need it. Make it safe at -9. Give it complete 90 degrees tracking. You should not be able to step this to your left. No matter who you're playing, this should be total, like, complete 90 degrees tracking, foolproof. No discussion there. Maybe in exchange, kind of like remove some of the tracking off of this move, because it's like it's useless. Once you make this, because this is what you deserve. Keep the counter hit launch, make it -9, and make it +1 on block, please, because it's currently -1. It's ridiculous. And finally, forward 4-2. Needs to have a little bit more range, and be safe at -9 with, keep the pushback, but keep it at -9. These are the most important changes that should be done to him, in my opinion. The last things that I listed: more range on down forward 1, change to while standing 3, more range on CD4, fix down forward 2, and forward 4-2 safe with a little bit more range. Maybe give it a counter hit launch like he said, but I don't think so. Making it safer is better. Maybe the counter hit launch, like Armor King said, would not be too obscene. And now I'm going to discuss what I'm going to do to the throws. So similar to King, and even to a further extent, Armor King, despite being a grappler, has no easy mode one break throw out in the open. Nothing. He used to have this when it was back in the old Tekken system, where you actually needed to press 1 in order to break it and not either punch button with a huge break window, but now he doesn't have that anymore. So, just like I did with King, I want to give him 3 easy mode, immediately accessible throws that he can use in any situation out in the open without having to buffer them or without doing too much meditation. He already has this at 40 frames, at 40 damage and 12 frames, so I would keep that. 1+2 break, DDT, I would change I would actually make down back 1+2, down back 2+3, do the Hades drop or his muscle buster. So easy mode. You do down back 1+3, you get the Hades drop. And down forward 2+4 would give you a DDT with changes to the damage to make it 40, and maybe remove the the guaranteed while standing 3. So he would have this for 2 break, this for 1 break with easy inputs, and this for 1+2 break with an easy input. In exchange, Giant Swing would get the same treatment as King's. You would tech automatically. Maybe keep the damage at 45, maybe buff it to 50, and 60 if he hits the wall, so nerf it by 5. Tombstone would be changed to forward quarter circle forward 2, and nerf the damage to 50, but make it 0 so he gets Oki. And finally, Shining Wizard damage buff to 50 because it's the most difficult of all these throws to execute, and it deserves to have damage. So in this way, the 2 kings will have a complete 3-way ambiguous mix-up on their ambiguous throws. They would have 3 easy-to-break throws just like everyone else. And maybe one last thing I would change, or 2 last things I would change, is the Armor King driver. I forgot to mention this on King's video. I put it in the comments or in the description. There's no reason for these like from full crouch throws to exist. Like if I make down back 1+3 viable on both Kings, there would be no reason to do this, because from crouch you could just do something like this, and you'd have your throw mix up. So Armor King driver I would actually change to be a crouch grab that you do maybe in a similar fashion to like down forward 1+3 just like King, and will be a 1+2 break. And similarly, just like Little Majin said, these throws, this would be 1 break. Do something else for like a 2 break. Maybe maybe, I don't know, maybe use one of King's or something like that. I'm sure you can come up with something. And this would be +10 out in the open, so you get 2-1 guaranteed, and more plus at the wall, so you get a better wall splat. So this way you have 1, 2, and 1+2 on both your crouch grabs and your grounded throws to have like a full complete mix-up. As for the crouch dash, you'd still be able to do crouch dash muscle buster. You'd still be able to do crouch dash Shining Wizard. I can't do it on this pad. And this way you have a complete throw mix-up to use in every situation, either buffered or unbuffered, or from crouch dash or whatever. I believe this is the proper way to take the character. This would not make King obsolete, because he'd still be the quicker brawler up close. King would have access to 13 frames and 14 frames to cover both his sides with better frames. This would be -9 on Armor King. This currently is -3. I would make it a bit more minus if I make these changes. And yeah, I believe this would make both Kings viable. They would actually be a force to reckon with up close, because you're afraid of the throws because you can't always break them, unlike you can do now. And yeah, I believe this would be the proper way to take these characters. So, that being said, thank you all for watching, and take care, and goodbye.